Are you going to cooperate? You don't want to be here, do you? Hello. So I almost didn't make a video this week, but I'm making these to entertain you, and if I don't make anything, I can entertain you, so I've come up with something, I hope. Yes, JP. So randomly the other day I decided I would unbox that, the deluxe Star Darlings that I'd gotten on clearance. And I did, and she is very pearlescent pink. I actually really like this odd skin tone she has. I don't know if it shows up well. And I like her hair colors mixed together, and I even like the iridescent tinsel in her hair. It's not too overdone, even though we all know that tinsel can get kind of out of control. But this is not the fiber core tinsel like Monster High uses. This is just strips of plastic. More like Hasbro used for gem in the 80s. And so, yeah, I like the bodies on these. I like her skin tone. I like her hair. I'm just not sold on these faces because they are super Disney stereotype faces. They just look like, Tangled's Rapunzel and Frozen's Elsa and Anna, and it's just that Disney face. But I might see if I can do anything with it, because I'm sure not going to find a match to put another head on this body. And one thing I noticed is, I guess I hadn't had the other ones that I unboxed and recapitated sit down because they splay. And it's not because, they don't splay because the reason the Disney Store bodies do, because there's a physical block in the pelvis plastic. Chip lets out, hold on. I don't usually do this with my door closed, but it is the day before Thanksgiving and the kiddo is home from school and he is out there watching YouTube. So that's just some attempt at noise control. Anyway, the reason these legs splay, without taking the doll apart, it feels like, normally the pins to connect the hips to the body, the legs to the body, go in this way. It feels like these are like this, because if you pull it out at an angle and spin it, you see it's pretty much spinning on this axis. Which I imagine it's because there's not a lot of room in here, but I've taken enough bodies apart to know that you don't need a long pin, you just need enough of a nub to get through the plastic and hold on. But there might not be that much room inside even for that. If you work at it a little bit, you can almost get her to sitting position. It's a very back-leaning sitting position without too much leg splay. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. I would just like to have the option not to do this. I have thought of ways that it could be fixed that mainly involve the first thing I thought of would be taking the legs off, drilling a hole through it, and drilling through the legs, putting a pin through there, whether it's metal or some sprue, and gluing that in place, and then just stringing them on with elastic. I'm also not sure if I bring this notch down more, if that would allow. I don't think it will. But for now, she's fine as she is. She would probably just be standing, and since I'm not sure what I'm going to do about her face. Also, as with all the other Star Darlings that I've gotten on clearance, her face paint was horrible. There was this huge incrustation of glitter over here that I managed to scrape off, but her eyebrows have irregular splotches, and her eyeliner has a big chunk missing, and there's stray paint streak on her eyelid. So, yeah, it could have room for improvement. She's definitely a project sometime in the future. I just haven't thought of what to do with her yet. But she's cute in her own way. It's just a Disney way, it's not my way. Okay. Also, on Sunday morning, I spent a long time so like several hours finally making a dress for Lady Glowy Skull, and I miscalculated the hand openings, and when I tried to put them on the body, it ended up scraping off some of the paint, and and her head had gotten looser and looser, and I looked at it and wiggled around and realized, watch me not be able to do it now. This I think I'm going to call, for now at least, a moratorium on the Lady Glowy Skull project. I might come back to her in the future. I might see if I can just pull her apart even more. But what I was doing just wasn't working. I do have another one of these glow-in-the-dark magnet skulls, so I could start from scratch. But as it is, I'm just going to peel everything apart that I can. The body. You see, I don't know if you can see the scrape on the hand there, but I will either find something I can do with it with these darkened appendages, or I will paint it all black or all some other color. And so I hope no one was interested in Lady Glowy Skull, because she's not going anywhere right now. And on Monday I had to run some errands, and I decided I would stop in the thrift store, and there wasn't much. I did find this Mackie-faced Barbie wearing a Fashion Avenue. She was also originally wearing these tights, which were a little discolored. I have washed them and they're dried, and that's why she's not wearing them now. I also had to wash her discolored legs, and her face, I couldn't tell if she just had something on it getting her dirty, or if it was the, I've had dolls in boxes with a plasticizer, something coming out of their face and almost forming like a crystal dust on the top. So I don't know if that's what was happening to her. But I cleaned her off, and my experience with dolls, as long as you keep using them, they won't have those weird reactions. So obviously she's a Mackie face. I had no idea who she is. My gut feeling, my Barbie sense was telling me that she was probably from about 1998. And then this is sewn onto her in a way that made me pretty sure that it was originally on her, not something that someone did at home. So I got home to eBay, and my search term was 1998 Valentine Barbie, and found out that she is Valentine style from Target from 1998. When I get Barbies I can't identify, I will go to eBay, and I will say going to eBay for Barbie identification is a tip I picked up from What If Chris years ago, and it has served me very well for toys in general. eBay is a much better way to figure out toys than just the internet in general. And so I went to eBay, and if 1998 hadn't worked, 1998 Valentine hadn't worked, I would have put in 1998 Heart, and if that hadn't worked, I would have started changing the years and the combinations, but like I said, it hit the first time. And I do use eBay to identify dolls after 1995, because dolls from before 1995 are in this, The Ultimate Barbie Doll Book by Marcy Melillo. Or Melillo, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Sorry, Mercy. This, like I say, this goes up to 1995 because that is when it is copyright, I believe. And copyright 1996, so pretty much ends at 1995. And I've had this since probably 2000, before eBay and the internet was really a good place to identify Barbies. And back then I probably could have identified most dolls from between 1995 and then, because I had just seen them in the store. Anyway. So this is a good Barbie ID book. It has a close-up picture and a whole box picture, and it has helped me identify a lot of dolls, both in my possession and people on the internet saying, hey, what's this doll? From the era. So I've got the 80s here. It's older. It has Barbie. It has black or African American Barbie, different from the Christie dolls. Same with the Asian and the Hispanic Barbies being different from Teresa and Nikki, or whatever you want to call those. There's sections from Midge and Barbie's Friend. There's Skippers. This does stop right before Teen Skipper had a return in '96. Ken and Ken's Friends. And then when you get to the back, you get to like the store exclusives and odd little series, like the military series and my first Barbie series. This does not have non-Barbie Mattel lines like Guardian Goddess or Shani. This does not have celebrity dolls, even though there were a lot of celebrity dolls made by Mattel in Barbie scale with Barbie's body during this time. You know, you would have had the Osmonds, you would have had Kitty O'Neill, the stunt woman. There was, I think it was Christy McNichol. There was the... I found the doll a few months ago in a thrift store, a 1970s blonde. Anyway, then through the 80s, there weren't too many celebrity friends, but the 90s got back to it with, like, the Clueless dolls probably would have been in this time frame. Anyway, and it definitely doesn't have dolls from other countries. So, like, again, with What If Chris, he has posted dolls that I absolutely cannot find in here, and they turn out to have been a Canadian or international or European, or at least not in America variant. So, eBay is good. If you like books, this is very good. And I use it a lot. But this was the only doll I got in the thrift store. I did also buy, the only thing I bought in the thrift store that day was I found the Martha Stewart Encyclopedia of Crafts for $3. And that, yeah. I used to have a huge library of books covering a whole wall in the living room, but I downsized my books a lot, but I still do have craft books. Mostly they're Halloween craft books, but craft books. And I also stopped in, again, I like crafts, stopped in Walmart, and they had these 98-cent bead bags that they've had for a few years, and I found interesting things in them. I don't need to be buying beads, but I could not resist this string of, what do they call this, oil slick finish beads. It's not an iridescent finish like Aurora Borealis or crystal. This is more just color change. And this is one of my favorite bead finishes, and I think I mentioned last time that I want to make more just simple little bracelets. And when I said that, I meant, yes, from beads that I already have, but you know how it is with hobbies. A lot of times you're in the hobby because you like the stuff of the hobby as much as the things you can do with the hobby. Like, yes, I like putting dolls together and customizing dolls, but that's because I like dolls. And yes, I like making jewelry, but that's because I like beads and charms and things so much. So that's another project that I couldn't be doing instead of thrifting and looking up the dolls I find when I thrift. And then I just finished today, before making this video, you know, well, here's the body for the, and yes, his original neck connector is still inside, and it will be forever. Anyway, so here's the body, painted green for that Allen. There's a few scrapes, you can see on the, around the hip especially, but that will pretty much always be covered. I haven't had too many scrapes happen around the elbows yet, but I have been being delicate with it. And excuse me if you've, oh, I forgot to say, since last week, part of the reason I don't have a lot of doll stuff done is because as I made the video last week, my tonsils were starting to act up. I don't know if it's just from seasonal things or the fact that I live kind of close to the area that was on fire. I mean, not super close. Close enough that the sunsets were made intensely pink from all the particles in the air, and everybody in my family started getting unhappy tonsils, probably because of all the stuff in the air. So I made the video last week as my tonsils were starting to act up. The next day, my voice was just... Basically, it gets to the point where I just have to pitch my voice up a bit, and I sound just like Captain Janeway. It's a very kind of a husky voice, and had all the other things that go along with allergies. And today is one of the first days when I have felt good enough to be interacting with people again. So that would be you. And that's also really put a damper on customizing figures, which has already had a damper on it from events anyway. But I did get him painted and trying a new, this, I think I'm going to go seal this body again with something shinier. It is sealed, but it's with a matte sealant, and it is a matte sealant. It's a Krylon. I don't remember exactly which one, that does not react with vinyl heads. So I could keep it consistent with the head for this body, the finish, glossy versus non-glossy, but I like having the bodies have a gloss finish because that just makes them look more like plastic. But that's the body. And then I finally decided to paint his face. I started, well, I meant to start early yesterday, but like I said, that was my last battle with the allergies. So I spent most of yesterday feeling terrible. And I finally got up the right mood to repaint pretty much right before bedtime. So I got started on his repaint, but I did not finish it till today after getting back from errands and everything. So my inspiration for the repaint and this whole thing, it's like I thrifted that Smiling Alan at the Goodwill outlet store, the bins. And I got him home and was like, wow, this is a really weird looking guy. But I went ahead and stripped his paint and his hair, and I realized how much he looked like Tango Ken, who I have in the form of the Winky Guard. And it is generally agreed that this is one of Mattel's better Ken sculpts. We just like green, makes them all better. And Alan, that Smiling Alan, looked enough like Tango Ken that it inspired John to use his old Smiling Alan to make a brother for his Winky Guard, which inspired me to go ahead and do the same thing for mine. He gave his hair from a wig, a Halloween wig, so it has fiber hair, and he painted the beard on it because that smile was just still big and a little bit disturbing, but the beard kind of hid the starkness of the smile. So I sculpted the hair and beard on mine, which, like I think last week I mentioned, had some people saying, hey, he looks like young Obi-Wan Kenobi, but on green. And I just finished painting him. It's like the sealant is only just dry. And here he is. And said I definitely tried to copy the Winky Guard's face. The way that there's darker green around the eyes and the lips are lined with that same dark green. And like, I am not great at copying factory paint, and of course I deviated with the purple pink hair instead of for the eyebrows too. Instead of, if I could figure out what color his eyebrows were, I would touch up that huge scuff on it, that paint rub, but right now I have not figured out what paint I have that would match that, and I don't want to turn it into an entire debacle of repainting his whole eyebrows. But anyway, so here he is, and I am going to, after I finish this video, go put another coat of sealant on the body so it can be slightly glossy, and then I will reunite the head with the body and get him dressed and get some pictures of him. I'm still not sure if he's successful or not. I didn't, like when I did his lips, I didn't thin the pink enough. See, this lip tone is obviously a very sheer pink over the green, which, you know, I am not a fan of pink, blushing pink lips on green skin dolls, but since we're copying this one, so I accidentally made the lip paint too opaque, so he has much more prominent lips, which I hope the beard helps knock that back. So that's where I am with dolls this week. There's always, I still have, you know, as far as that list from last week goes, really all I've knocked off is the dress for Lady Glowy Skull, because Lady Glowy Skull is going back into the parts bin, at least for now. And then this guy, just about finished. And then I guess I will start knocking off the little things. Hopefully I can be more entertaining next week. Thanks for sticking with me.